Flooding has been persistent all through this year, and we can't even just say this year. We've had recurring floods every year since we can date it back to 1971, 1973, when the first flooding incidents happened in Ghana. That time, the major cities that were flooded were Accra, then the twin city of Sekondi and Takoradi, where a lot of people lost their homes and some their lives. It's 2026 and we are still experiencing the same flooding that happened years ago. We could even go back to 2015, June 3rd. Yes, the major disaster, the circle flooding that eventually we had the filling station catching fire. We lost hundreds of people that day. And we thought that would have been a deterrent, or would have been a lesson to us to learn and to put things in place, put laws into place, put things into place to curb it, to avoid such disaster. But it seems that it has become part and parcel of us. Last year we had flooding. We spoke about it after the annual rainy season ended. We left that conversation and moved on to other things. This year, yes, we are experiencing another flooding. And we are having the same conversations that has been had years before, even before we were born. We are still having those same conversations. So that begs for the question, why? What's happening? We understand that Accra is like the flatbed. It's below the Akuapem Basin, and because it's between the Akuapem Basin and the Atlantic Ocean, it's sort of like a pathway for the waters that falls from the Akuapem Mountains. But that can be, we can't just take that hook, line, and sinker as the reason that flooding will be persistent every single year. Every single year, people will lose their properties, people will lose lives, would have to start all over again. Every single year, people's hopes are wiped out and they have to start afresh. That can be the life that we want to live as citizens of the country. We hear our leaders, but we don't see their actions. We hear them saying, oh, Sunday through to Monday's rain is the most we've had for a long time or ever, because we experienced 144 millimeters of rain. But we should be proactive as leaders, as people, as citizens. Everyone, as it's happened, it's not just the leaders or people in authority that's happened to. It's happened to every single one of us, down to the cocoa seller who couldn't come to work yesterday because of flooding. So we don't want this to be an annual topic where eventually they would have to set up conferences to address flooding, conferences and maybe meetings and committees to explore what's causing. We all know what's causing flooding. You know, I know. We know what's causing flooding. But that's why we've voted people into power. That's why we have leaders in places to take the decisions, the bold decisions that will not always be welcome, but will favor the majority of the people. We just can't wait for the few people to take hostage of the country and put a lot of us at risk. As we've seen in the news, all over the internet, we've had we are getting to double figures of people who have lost their life just yesterday because of the flooding. Is that going to be an annual thing? Are we going to experience that every single year or every single time it floods? Homes, properties, years and years and years of hard work down the drain. Some people could barely escape with their lives, and that's even me being generous. People have escaped with scars, with trauma. So that begs for the question to be answered. How? What next? What are we putting in place to curb flooding, to manage it? because the rains will fall. That we can't stop nature. The rains will fall every year. It will do what it's supposed to do. But does that mean that when it falls, we have to lose our lives? We've seen people build where they are not supposed to build. And we are talking about it, but who gave them permits? We need answers. We just don't need people to say, oh, call this toll-free number, do this. We've seen your inadequacies, but if you do something to make up for it, we'll probably try to excuse you or forgive you. But if you think it's going to be all talk and afterwards we go back to regular programming, that won't work for us. And we've seen from the last election that this generation of people, of citizens, are people who take action. So it's not a threat. We just need action to be taken. If buildings need to come down, they need to come down now. And the drainage, the average citizen, they silt your gutters. Even through the flood, we saw people pouring garbage into the running waters. We saw people, you saw videos, I saw videos, we saw people still making the situation worse, thinking that they are making it worse for the next person. But it will come back to you. It will come back to you one way or the other. People are saying the city is overcrowded, but we've seen cities that are crowded much more than Accra is. But proper planning, urban planning has been put in place. People just don't build anywhere because they have the money. They are being restricted as to where they can build. They are being forced to build according to where they are building, not building in places that they are not supposed, building in places that are supposed to have just a one story. We need our laws to work. We don't want 2026 to be another statistic in the books of Ghana, in the history books of Ghana. Let 2026 floods and disaster, let it be the year that ticked something, turned something, laws were implemented. People who are meant to work actually go to work and do their work. We've seen over social media when people say, oh, remember when we were young, we saw the town council people where they used to come and fine people for having dirty surroundings, but now we don't see them anymore. We need people to do their work. We need accountability. If people do what is not supposed to be done, take them to court, fine them. If they need to go to prison to get reformed, take them to prison. We need to protect our lives. We need to protect what is left of Ghana, of the country Ghana. Because this flooding is not, Accra had it the worst, but we've seen videos all across the country. We've seen Kumasi, we've seen Takrade, I've seen somewhere in the western region too. So it's not just an Accra problem, it's a Ghana problem. And we need it solved now. So our leaders, we voted you because you told us you had the answers to this situation. You told us you had the answers to this predicament. So please, provide the answers that you say you have. And if you don't have it, copying is allowed. We've seen countries, we've seen Rwanda, we've seen Singapore, we've seen them turn their fortunes around. Copying is allowed. And we see our leaders travel to all these places and they see how the towns, the cities are planned. Let's emulate that, bring it into the Ghanaian society and force people to comply. There are laws. If people decide to go against them, let the laws deal with them. Let us force them to comply. Eventually, they would have to comply because Ghana is for all of us, not just a select few. So we won't allow a select few to take away the Ghana that was given to us by our forefathers away. Moving on to other news. It's still World Cup season. It's unfortunate these incidents are happening in our country, but it's still World Cup season, and there's no episode I'll bring you in this season without bringing you some updates from the World Cup. Yesterday, yes, you saw it, Paraguay, they stunned Germany. Germany went into the game overconfident, thinking Paraguay is a walk in the park, but they came all guns blazing, and beat Germany by 4 goals to 3 on penalties after a 1-1 draw during normal time and extra time. And also Morocco, yes, they beat Netherlands on penalties by 3 goals to 2 on penalties too. Yes, you saw that Diop 91st minute equalizer to draw them level. Then they eventually knocked Netherlands out by beating them 3 goals to 2 on penalties. This brings us to the end of today's episode. Like, share, and subscribe, and come back tomorrow for another episode.